which is the best version of LeBron?
Skip, if you look at his numbers, the man has been so consistent. First stint in Cleveland, he's 28, 7-7. Miami, he's 27, 8-7. Second stint in Cleveland, 26, 8-8. LA, 27, 8-8. So he's been a model of consistency. But for me, I'm going to take LeBron, the Miami LeBron. Skip, the two MVPs, the two final MVPs. He was a four-time all-defensive selection. 3 times he was first team. He should have won a Defensive Player of the Year, Skip. And he was at the peak of his powers. Because when they say he could sit in the chair, he could literally sit in the chair. He could really, really guard 1 through 5. And we saw him do it on a number of occasions. We saw what he did. Derrick Rose was the MVP. In the fourth quarters in that series, he was 6 of 25, 24%. The final 2 games against Tony Parker, he took Tony Parker the final 2 games, game 6 and 7, 9 of 35, 26%. He had his 2 highest field goal percentages of his career. He had his 2 3-point highest field goal percentage. One year, he shot over 40%. He was a part of a 27-game winning streak in Miami. Skip, you remember he had a series, I think it was like 6 games, where he scored at least 30 and shot 60% from the floor. And when he broke the streak, it was against the OKC. He had dropped 39, and he tried a 30-foot 3 with like under a minute to drop him at 58%. Because he had it, could have continued it on. And then in Boston. Skip, you remember what he did in Boston when that game 6, when he dropped 45 and 15. So for me, it's kind of like Tom Brady. You take Tom Brady's career in 7-year increments, Skip, and any way you look at it, he's a Hall of Famer. He's arguably a top, in any 7-year increment of Tom Brady's career, no matter how you look at it, Skip, he's a top 5 quarterback. I think LeBron James, you look at it, you split it up over 5 years, he's arguably one of the 5 best players to ever play the game in any 5-year increment that you look at it. So for me, I'm going to take the Miami LeBron because I think he's at the peak of his offensive and defensive powers.
Okay, so for those billions of blind witnesses out there, I'm going to remind everyone, I'm now forced to respond to what you just said about your man, LeBron James. Mm-hmm. So I'm not cheap-shotting LeBron. I'm only responding to the case you just made.
Right.
For the record. Okay, so if I'm doing Miami LeBron, the problem with LeBron for me is he does put up good slash numbers, as you say, you know, what are they, like 20 everywhere he goes, yes. It's like 27,
28, 7, and 7.
Okay, so he is a model of consistency, but many times that consistency camouflages what really happened. So for me, what really happened to Miami LeBron was, obviously, in 2011, that was an epic fail in the finals against Dallas. So I got to include that in the body of work in Miami because I have never seen a superstar meltdown the way LeBron did in games 4, 5, and 6 of that series when he averaged 15, 8, and 8. 15, 8, and 8. Shot only 44% from the field, which is unlike him. 2 of 12 from 3, which is not shocking. That was 17%. 4 of 10 from the free throw line in those 3 games. That's 40%, obviously. Averaged 5 turnovers per game in 4, 5, and 6. He was also a minus 41 in plus-minus in those 3 games. Mm-hmm. It was a collapse. And even you agreed that was a collapse. So that's on the record.
Right.
So he comes back the next year, to his credit, against the Baby Thunder. It's Durant, Westbrook, and Harden in their first finals, trying to figure it out. They win game 1. LeBron was instrumental in surviving game 2 to get the series back to Miami tied 1-1. But I'm going to remind everybody, Shane Battier in game 2 at Oklahoma City was lights out because he shot the lights out. He made 5 of 7 threes in that game, and it just felt like every time you looked up, there was another rainbow bomb from Shane Battier that turned the tide. LeBron did make, was it 1 or 2 free throws down the stretch, which was many times.
Oh, game 2, he made both free throws.
He made both 3 free throws, and I'm going to give you that. But Shane Battier was crucial in game 2, which led to game 3, which was Dwayne's one big game in the series, when he went 25 to LeBron's 29. He went 25, 7, and 7 was Dwayne in game 3. and all of a sudden the tide is turning completely against the Baby Thunder. And then game 4 was the Mario Chalmers game because he scores 25, but he scored 12 in the fourth quarter. He took over in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden it's 3-1 Heat.
Okay.
And then we get to the closeout game, which was only game 5, and Mike Miller goes berserk. I mean, I've never seen anything like that from Mike Miller because he made 7 of 8 three-point shots and scored 23 points in the game, but 7 of 8 threes? So you're getting huge help from unlikely places, which you can always argue, okay, that happens. But he got it right on time when he needed it.
But you make it seem like LeBron didn't cut. LeBron was the leading scorer. He averaged 28 in that series. Okay. So you gave me one game Shane Battier. You gave me one game D Wade. You gave me one game Mike Miller. But what about LeBron was a model of consistency throughout? He led them in scoring.
Okay, I'll give you that. But what did he say live on ABC? At the end of that game?
Yes.
It's about damn time. Well, it was about damn time, but he did that.
Yes.
Which brought us to 2013, which brought us to game 6, my most painful moment of ever watching any game, any place in any sport, because down the stretch, my team with 23 seconds left had a 5-point lead, courtesy of a LeBron James, who, if we could see these, please, with 39.9 seconds left, down the stretch of game 6, should have been the closeout game for my Spurs, LeBron turns it over because Kawhi Leonard took it away from him. But these are unforced errors, just shocking. Whoops, what are you doing, LeBron? Okay, so that's the first turnover. And then there's the second turnover that Manu steals from him. So with 39.9 and 28.2 seconds left, LeBron James turned it over in a crucial closeout game and basically said, here's Spurs, here's Spurs.
Yes.
You guys should close the deal,
But they didn't, though, Skip.
Okay. Then LeBron has a 3 to clear the decks, to save the day, to tie the game and send it to overtime, and he LeBricked it. He was long with it, and for some reason, Tim Duncan was sitting next to Pop on the bench. I'll never understand that one, but Chris Bosh goes and takes the long rebound, kicks it to Ray Allen in the corner, and we know what happened.
Skip.
Ray Allen did save LeBron's legacy.
Skip, think about what you're doing. I'm taking a 4-year span, and I'm talking about LeBron did this, this, and this. You're taking individual games. Mm-hmm. So you haven't looked at what...
Finals games.
Okay, finals game. In 2014, you're going to say, well, look at LeBron. LeBron James in 2014, he averaged 28. He shot 57% from the floor. He shot 52. LeBron James in the 2014 finals averaged 1 fewer point per game than what D. Wade and Chris Bosh averaged together. But you blame that on LeBron. I took a series. What I did is I took a 4-year increment in which LeBron played at Miami, and you look at the numbers, and I'm saying this was when he was at his peak. He was at his apex because he could literally sit in the chair for 48 minutes and guard anybody, be it Tony Parker, be it Derrick Rose, or he could jump out there and deal with KD. No matter who it was, he could deal with them. And the efficiency in which he played the game with. But you know what? Let's talk about one series, not the whole year. Let's talk about one series. Okay, let's talk about game 6. Well, game 6 in 2013, Skip, he scored 16 points in the fourth. You criticize Steph because he only had 2 points in the fourth. LeBron had 16, had 2 assists. Yes, Skip, turnovers are a part of the game. And even when he plays well, you go find somebody that had 5 points in the fourth quarter or somebody that had 10 points. You say, well, that's it right there. That's why they won. If you want to say, well, I think the second time in Cleveland, or I think L.A., or I think the first time, okay, fine. But you take an individual, you take one series, or you take one game to try to dispel 4 years.
Okay, well, I appreciate you bringing up 2014 because I'm going to continue to dispel Miami LeBron. I dare anybody to go put in the tape and watch the tape of game 3 and 4. The series is tied 1-1 going back to LeBron's house in Miami, American Airlines Arena. I was shocked because LeBron wasn't really into it. I'm not saying he was completely out of it, but it was just weird LeBron.
Well, where are those guys at? Now, see, the other time, now you told me about Mike Miller. You told me about Rio. You telling me about D. Wade. So where'd they go? Where'd they go?
Would you believe in those 2 games, in 3 and 4, LeBron did average 25, 7, and only 5 assists, so those fell off. He also averaged 5 turnovers in each of he had 10 total turnovers in 2 games. It's just not good enough because his final plus minus, his combined plus minus for those two games that the Miami Heat blew at home to the Spurs, LeBron was a minus 42 in those two games.
Well, Skip, they got beat. They got beat by like 25 and 30.
Okay, and so after they got torched in Game 5 back in San Antonio, which became shockingly the closeout game of that series, LeBron James and company had lost that finals by a record finals margin.
Yes.
Okay, so that goes on your resume in Miami, which brings me to my answer to Jen's question, which is the greatest I ever saw LeBron was 2015, his first year back in Cleveland against Golden State the first time they faced him in the finals. Because in those three games, I've told you again and again, that was the epitome of LeBron's greatness.
Skip, I'm taking an increment. You're taking a series. We're not supposed to take the series. Which LeBron was better? First stint in Cleveland, the Miami stint, the second stint in Cleveland.
I got Cleveland the second because in those three games to start off that series, he averaged 41, 12, and 8 against the Golden State Warriors, who looked invincible coming into the series. 41, 12, and 8. Now, he did fail in Game 4 because he had him down 2-1 in his house. And the Iguodala insertion by Steve Kerr into the starting lineup changed the whole series because Iggy did a pretty good number on LeBron because LeBron did not play well in that game, and Iggy did play well on the offensive end. And all of a sudden, the script flipped.
Right.
So the point is, I still give him those three games because I've never seen anything like it because he didn't have Kevin Love, and then right away in the overtime of Game 1, he lost Kyrie. So he's basically just putting Delly on his back, and for those three games going 41, 12, and 8. And then we do have to give him, I have to give him credit for 2016, the comeback. Obviously, there was no Draymond for Game 5, and Steph went completely AWOL in games, 5, 6, and 7. But the point is, LeBron did do that. He had some help from Kyrie, but he was the driving force down the stretch in 2016. So to me, the best stretch of his career was 15 and 16, Cleveland the second time.
Miami. That first stint in Miami. And you forget that Boston series. Remember what he did in Boston?
Yeah, I do.
Average 34 and 11 with a 45, 15, and 6 in there to throw in there. When you said it was over, when everybody said they are not going back to Miami, and LeBron said, yes, we are.
And then what happened?
They won the championship.
Okay.
That what happened.
2012, right?
Yeah, they won the championship. That what happened.
And then what happened in 2013?
They got San Antonio. They had the champagne, and LeBron said, "You're not drinking champagne on my court." And then he finished it up. And then he dropped 37 and 12 on Kawhi and hit the big shot at the top of the key. But see, you want the man average. Let this sink in, people. I know y'all didn't know this at home. LeBron James, and when Skip is telling you, in the 5 games they lost, he averaged 28, 7, and 6. D Wade and Bosh together averaged 29. And that's why hence LeBron ended up saying, I'm going back to Cleveland because I don't believe I can win with what we currently have here.
Really? So 2011 was pretty much of a nightmare, and 2013 looked like a nightmare.
Hold on, time out. 2011 season was a nightmare, or the series, the one series against Dallas Mavericks? Because I'm taking it's all in its totality.
Well, I'm taking the finals when it was mattering, when the money got pushed to the middle of the table.
Well, he got 2 championships out of that. When the money was pushed to the table in 12 and 13, he got the money.
Really?
He got the money. Sweepstakes.
Thanks to Ray Allen, he got the money.
Not thanks to Ray Allen.
Well, it
we
was.
are out of time, but I
it.
think it speaks pretty highly of LeBron when you can't decide which championship
I just
run
did.
was most impressive.
You did.
All right.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.